Within the infinite void of the cosmos, Earth possesses just one nearby companion, our moon. This luminous celestial body in the darkness above has mesmerized humankind since the dawn of our existence. As late as the 1800s, the moon remained merely a source of fascination and conjecture. Then, in 1865, Jules Verne envisioned a method of reaching it through his literary work, From the Earth to the Moon. Within those pages, the aspiring space travelers employed an enormous cannon to propel themselves beyond our atmosphere. In reality, such a method would have crushed them into lifeless remains. Yet for that era, the concept was regarded as groundbreaking. George Méliès satirized this notion through his 1902 silent film, A Trip to the Moon, which drew inspiration from Verne's novel and gifted us the unforgettable image of the moon's anthropomorphic face. Beyond the realm of speculative fiction, it wasn't until 1959 that the Soviet Union launched their inaugural attempt to reach the moon using a spacecraft designated Luna 1. They failed to make contact. Luna 1 drifted beyond the moon's position and remains adrift in solar orbit to this day. Nevertheless, this mission proved such an endeavor was achievable. From that moment forward, numerous missions have been launched with the objective of landing on the lunar surface. However, these endeavors possess a rather disappointing success rate. When including the Apollo program, nearly 40 missions have attempted to land on the moon, with additional attempts still planned. 20 of these missions achieved successful landings, including half a dozen Apollo flights. Yet 15 spacecraft either failed to achieve orbit, bypassed the moon completely, or impacted its surface catastrophically. These statistics represent unfavorable odds. The total failure of Intuitive Machines' recent Athena lander confirms this remains a persistent challenge. Conversely, the remarkable success of the inaugural Firefly Blue Ghost landing maintains optimism that lunar exploration remains entirely feasible. This situation prompts the inquiry: why does landing on the moon continue to present such difficulties? As circumstances would have it, there exists no singular straightforward explanation, but instead a comprehensive list of reasons why numerous missions have ended in failure. We can attempt to organize these into 4 distinct categories. First, achieving orbital insertion. Second, translunar injection. Third, descending toward the moon's surface. And fourth, executing a safe landing. We'll begin with our opening category, achieving orbital insertion. The launch window offers no margin for error. Should any malfunction occur prior to engine ignition, weeks must pass before another attempt becomes possible. Despite appearing commonplace in the present day, simply reaching space remains a formidable undertaking. The inaugural lunar spacecraft launched by the United States, designated Pioneer, possessed modest dimensions. Its design consisted of a cylindrical body, measuring 75 centimeters across with conical sections at both extremities. Its total mass reached merely 35 kilograms. However, its launch vehicle detonated 74 seconds following liftoff, preventing it from even attaining Earth orbit. The subsequent Pioneer missions encountered similarly poor outcomes, predominantly due to propulsion system or upper stage failures. Assuming successful orbital insertion is achieved, the subsequent phase involves reaching the moon. For translunar injection, a direct trajectory demands substantial propellant reserves. Numerous lunar spacecraft and the entirety of the Apollo missions employed this methodology. An alternative method exists, designated LEO, Low Energy Transfer Orbit. This technique demands significantly less propellant by utilizing sequential gravity assist maneuvers, though requiring considerably more time. NASA's Capstone mission, which departed in 2022, implemented this approach. Capstone represents an essential foundational element in the development of the Lunar Gateway space station and clearing our path toward returning to the moon. However, commencing your journey toward the moon provides no guarantee of arrival. Consider Apollo 13 as an example. During their voyage to the moon, merely 56 hours into the expedition, an oxygen tank ruptured, severely damaging the vessel. It required the full extent of NASA's resourcefulness, including utilizing the Lunar Landing Module as an improvised survival craft, to return the astronauts safely to Earth. Setting aside catastrophic failures, as implausible as it might appear, certain spacecraft simply fail to intercept the moon. A minor miscalculation in trajectory across such an extended distance can produce a complete miss, leaving the spacecraft trapped in solar orbit. To escape Earth's gravitational influence, velocities approaching 11 kilometers per second are necessary. This velocity will transport you to the moon, which introduces our third category, descending toward the surface. Upon arrival, deceleration becomes essential. To accomplish this, every spacecraft thus far has first established lunar orbit before attempting descent. While orbiting the moon, velocities still reach approximately 1.6 kilometers per second, requiring complete deceleration to zero upon surface contact. Regrettably, the moon possesses no atmospheric envelope to provide resistance. On celestial bodies with atmospheres such as Mars or Earth, atmospheric friction facilitates deceleration. Heat-resistant shields and ultimately parachute systems enable gentle ground approaches. Since the moon lacks any atmosphere, parachute deployment proves ineffective. The sole landing method available mirrors the technique employed by SpaceX's Falcon 9 during its return to Earth. This approach is termed propulsive landing, requiring rocket engine thrust to achieve deceleration. Numerous spacecraft failed during this phase. In 2023, Russia's Luna 25 experienced a system malfunction during descent, exhausted its propellant supply, and collided with the lunar terrain. They did manage to reach zero velocity, suggesting there remains additional complexity beyond simple deceleration. This introduces our final category, the soft landing. This phase may constitute the most challenging aspect of all. From a cosmic perspective, the moon exists incredibly near, yet on a human scale it lies 385,000 kilometers distant. Signal transmission to the moon requires over 1 second, with an additional 1.3 seconds needed for signal return. This communication delay proves excessive for a NASA operator to don virtual reality equipment and manually guide the spacecraft downward. The spacecraft must execute the landing autonomously using its integrated computing systems. Yet for every triumph, at least one failure exists. Regardless of programmer expertise, anticipating every possibility remains impossible. For Apollo 11, NASA identified the most level, secure, yet scientifically valuable landing location, the Sea of Tranquility. Nevertheless, as Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin prepared to touch down, Neil discovered the predetermined landing site contained numerous boulders, rendering it excessively hazardous for landing. He assumed manual control and piloted the Eagle spacecraft by hand. He employed his visual perception and cognitive abilities to identify the optimal location. Upon their eventual safe touchdown, merely 15 seconds of propellant remained, barely avoiding catastrophe. In the absence of human crew, the spacecraft itself must independently determine the precise landing location. JAXA, Japan's space agency counterpart to NASA, utilized high-resolution imaging to chart the designated landing zone. Their information was calibrated with such precision that the lander achieved touchdown within 100 meters of the targeted coordinates. Unfortunately, it settled in an inverted position. As previously noted, Intuitive Machines applied the identical methodology with their most recent mission, the Athena lander. This spacecraft possessed considerable mass, exceeding 4 meters in height and weighing in at 2 metric tons. Tragically, it encountered the same fate as Intuitive Machines' previous mission, Odysseus. Athena deviated from its target by 250 meters, settling on a crater's rim, and toppled over. It was pronounced inoperative. Athena's companion spacecraft, Odysseus, made contact awkwardly with one landing pad settling upon a boulder, causing the entire vehicle to tip onto its side as well. Neil Armstrong successfully landed Apollo 11 because he applied his human cognitive capabilities to navigate that final distance. For unmanned spacecraft, we lack this advantage. What options remain available? Another potential methodology exists in its preliminary stages, but may represent the solution we need. Consider the progression of Tesla's full self-driving technology. Until 2019, Tesla engineers attempted to program for every conceivable scenario within their software. Yet they remained unable to develop a comprehensive solution for unanticipated circumstances. The autonomous driving team recognized that conventional programming approaches would prove perpetually insufficient. They therefore shifted toward implementing neural networks, machine learning capabilities, and data collected from Tesla vehicles operating worldwide to educate their systems. Currently, Tesla intends to deploy unsupervised FSD during June 2025 in Austin, Texas, indicating their confidence that vehicles operated by AI-powered computing systems will prove adequately safe, potentially exceeding human safety standards. This consideration acknowledges that humans hardly represent the benchmark for safe operation, which raises the question: can NASA and their collaborating organizations implement artificial intelligence within lunar spacecraft to achieve safe landings without human involvement. Similar to Tesla's vehicular technology, the open-source Deep Learning for Lunar Landers initiative exemplifies how teams will leverage this emerging methodology. The developers behind this program employ a realistic, simulated lunar terrain where the AI can master navigation and touchdown procedures while circumventing obstacles and maintaining upright orientation. The neural networks within these initiatives undergo training through repeated trial and error sequences, progressively enhancing their capabilities by assimilating knowledge from previous attempts. Much like Tesla's FSD system, the Firefly Aerospace Blue Ghost lander successfully completed its descent on March 2nd utilizing an AI-driven computer vision guidance platform. The Blue Ghost employed multiple camera systems to detect hazards and navigate around them, precisely as a self-driving vehicle prevents collisions. In this instance, it enabled the Blue Ghost to guide itself toward a secure landing zone in the same manner Neil Armstrong accomplished 56 years prior. As artificial intelligence technology continues advancing, we can anticipate increasingly precise and safer landings throughout future lunar missions. While it may never attain a 100% success rate, this approach represents the closest approximation achievable without human presence aboard and will establish the groundwork for humanity's eventual return to the Moon.